We'll just see. But what we are doing standing is short though.
Yes, I do the talking. Yes, I do the cooking. Yes, I do the cleaning. You start from Ambazonians are living the lie from illegal. Pastor
You have
Sam,
made mistake. You didn't send recap.
I don't know. I sent him recap now. That's the first thing I sent. Good evening and welcome to Undaunted Weekly Recap. I am Star Smart. Let's begin.
I am Onyi Okbala. Now this week has been mind blowing. All right, this week has been mind blowing. A lot of report pull through. We talked about the Bakassi Peninsula report, down to La Republic, the Cameroon stealing bones from the grave, up to doctors without borders discharged from court. Well, we can say that it's been a spectacular week so far.
Well, just in case you missed out on these reports, we are here to give you the report, the highlights of this report, but right after the break. The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with Undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers, and hell, was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing into the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Amazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Amazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
You're welcome back. Now here is a recap proper. This week we said the report that while Yaoundé junta blindfolds the international community that normalcy has returned in war-torn Amazonia, its colonial Creole barbaric military continues spraying leather bullets, killing innocent peace-loving Amazonians. Now, barely 2 days into the new week, the Colonial Republic du Cameroon Trigger Happy Forces invaded a funeral ceremony in the town of Bambui, Tuba local government area, and opened fire at dancers, shooting at random, killing a masquerade on the spot, while others, including innocent mourners, sustained injuries as they ran helter-skelter for safety.
Well, the colonial offices of the presidency, the Senate, and the National Assembly are headed by the fires of the principle of the need and necessity of retirement. This week we brought to you the Colonial Republic of Cameroon president, who is 98 years old. The president of the Colonial Senate is 88 years old, and the speaker of the Colonial Republic of Cameroon's National Assembly being 83 years old. Age is not fit medically to still occupy an office so demanding like theirs, but the circle of friends in the school days are not willing to part ways with power and set the country free from the slump they have plunged it into.
Rights groups, opposition parties, and local media are asking the Yaoundé corrupt government to publish its finding after most of $335 million loan from the IMF to fight COVID-19 could not be accounted for. At least 15 ministers so far have appeared at the audit bench of the Supreme Court and a special criminal tribunal to account for the funds. The second group of persons undaunted learned are those who mismanage funds destined for the organization of the African Nations Cup AFCON 2021. Till date, the stadium, especially the Paul Biya Stadium at Olimbe, Yaoundé, is not yet completed and might not be completed because the funds disbursed are nowhere to be found. Now, this stadium was hastily put into use during the competition, and part of it crumbled, killing over a dozen spectators, including a young Amazonian magistrate, Ebenak Desmond.
Now, the number of documented migrants within and from the African region has nearly doubled since 2010, continuing a 2-decade trend of expansion. African migration is being driven by a varied combination of push-pull factors for each country. The primary push factors are conflict, repressive governance, and limited economic opportunities. 9 of the top 15 African countries of origin for migrants are in conflict. North Africans make up the majority of African immigrants to Europe. The top 3, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia, comprise over 5 million of the 11 million African migrants in Europe. This underscores the importance of proximity, established diasporas, and economic opportunities as key pull factors influencing migration decisions making.
Right on Tuesday, 3rd of January 2023, at about 7 a.m. Amber time, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces of Ambongi local government area attacked an illegal La Republic du Cameroon terrorist checkpoint set up to extort money and harass the civilian population of Boskoso village. Now, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces engaged the La Republic du Cameroon terrorist elements that were at the control post, killing 3 and many seriously wounded. Well, this is thanks to all the Ambazonia Restoration Forces for their services and sacrifice to free homeland.
Well, on 30th December 2022, just last year, the European Union released a communique announcing that it was going to release a little more than 2 billion francs CFA to fight against food insecurity across war-torn Amazonia. According to the organization's estimates, nearly 600,000 people are in need of emergency food aid in Ambaland. Questioned by internet users about a 2 billion franc CFA envelope that the European Union will release to fight against famine in Amazonia, amid the raging armed conflict, Ambassador Philip Van Dam defended himself from the disease.
Also, this week we told you that we've been bringing you up to date with happenings as it relates to Doctors Without Borders. Now, in December 2022, we informed you that they were stopped from working, while on Monday, 9th January 2023, we informed you that they were charged to court. Undaunted gathered that the ruling was handed down on December 29th, 2022, but had not been made public. As of then, the NGO's lawyer, Edward Esono, as of Thursday, brought something new to the table, which I'm going to give you some briefs. It says, following the release of 5 agents of the NGO, it says, we had been arrested while transporting victims' wounds to Kumba Hospital. Sylvian Grox, Doctors Without Borders coordinator in Central Africa, said, we are happy with the judgment which acquits the 5 leaders, and further, the organization Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders were then accused of being in court with the Ambazonian freedom fighters. Ambazonia. Now, the court has delivered its verdict, exonerating the NGO and its leaders.
Also this week, the Ambazonian General of UNDA has sent a message promising doom for Paul Biya in the days ahead. General Fianuso made the statement in a video in circulation. In the video, the Amba General is certain that nothing and no man will stop the frontline fighters from reaching Buea, the capital of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
Well, a driver Undaunted got his name as Muchu Kalis, popularly known as Small Head, on the night of Monday, breaking Tuesday, January 10, 2023, was killed by soldiers at his Mai 10 Bambui residence. Muchu Kalis was a driver on the Bambui Bello Road. According to his colleagues, Kalis was killed in his home in Bambui local government area at about 8:30 p.m. on Monday.
You know, this is really a pathetic story. Well, quote, they got his son well beaten and forced him to take them to his father. His father was called out, and when he stepped out, they rained bullets on him, and he died on the spot. This is how people are being killed by the Colonial Tuba Brigade commander, and no one is saying anything. This is a quote from a witness who voted for anonymity. Well, the Colonial Republic du Cameroon terrorist military has burnt down houses, looted businesses of Southern Cameroonians, and set ablaze uncountable commercial motorbikes, sources of livelihoods for many youths, rendering them jobless. These have pushed some individuals to soil their hands to get what to eat at all costs.
Also this week, we got this scary story that says bones from 4 graves have been exhumed in a museum cemetery in the Nkambe local government area by still to be identified individuals. The question is, where is this market? The market that sells human bones. Where is it located, and who are those sponsoring it?
Well, this week also, La Republic du Cameroon, for those who did not know, has no boundaries with Nigeria, but Ambazonia does have. And so this week we brought to you a story how La Republic du Cameroon has stubbornly refused to go back to its internationally recognized boundaries obtained at its independence in 1960, simply because it wants to exploit the Ambazonians' Bakassi oil-rich peninsula. La Republic du Cameroon has been illegally feeding fat on for over the years. La Republic du Cameroon knows that respecting the Green Tree Accord will mean losing Bakassi, so no greedy person like colonial La Republic du Cameroon leaves food easily. And like a stubborn fly, stubborn greedy La Republic du Cameroon will be buried by Ambazonia. This will be discussed in an hour's time at the exclusive discussion with Tarapadi King.
Right. Also, this week, the crisis the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, PCC, is experiencing in Douala is fast degenerating to the point where the services of the court are needed. Now, a branch pastor of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, PCC of Batser in Douala, the economic capital of La Republic of Cameroon, has dragged some members of his church to court.
Well, the action caused PCC Christians to storm the illegal Ndokoti High Court to protest against the pastor that Undaunted got the name Pastor Ndip Philippe Nkongo and his decision. In front of the courtyard, the Christians kept booing Pastor Ndip Philippe Nkongo and his lawyer, addressing him as an embezzler. Quote, "Pastor, you are a thief, you must go." These are some of the sentences that the angry Christians were chanting. Well, here's the video so you see for yourself.
Well, for Undaunted for this week. After the break, we will begin the fresh report of today. Please stay tuned.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
All right, you're welcome back. Now, for the fresh report of today, let's start with this report that talks about how there are still bad roads in Ambazonia. Now, the people of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia are being marginalized. That's no more news, but they are marginalized by La Republic du Cameroon in every sector. One of the sectors is on the road infrastructure. Now, you can see that the road network in Ambazonia and Bamenda in particular is nothing one should desire. Now, one-time economic tired roads are today. Inhabitants of Bamenda are at risk of an imminent serious health challenge from the dust produced from the earth roads into the atmosphere.
Well, while the garage awaits car owners for constant repairs, the hospital also waits for pedestrians due to bad roads and accidents that occur there, and the dust they also produce. September 2022, the in-house slave Paul Achombong of the illegal Bamenda City Council, with his in-house slave councillors, converged in the name of voting a budget to fix all the city's road. It is 3 months now and counting. Nothing has been done. Why deceive the people of Amazonia again?
Well, the first day of September 2022, the illegal city mayor, in-house slave Paul Achombong, assured that bad road in Bamenda will be the thing of the past. Well, financial of the project at hand, he says, here are we in January and nothing so far has been done by the illegal city council on the road. The roads keep deteriorating every day. In-house slave city councillors of the illegal Bamenda City Board voted a deliberation to initiate the rehabilitation works on the urban road network of Bamenda in September 2022.
Well, that deliberation was voted down as the illegal Bamenda City Council converged for its midterm evaluation Thursday, September 1st, 2022. It was declared that 400 million francs CFA is needed to make the road passable around Bamenda across 2 studies, according to that it will see the greater portion of the broken tar removed and water channeled out of the road, according to a declaration of the illegal Bamenda City Mayor, in-house slave Paul Achombong. Of the 400 million, 310 million were at hand. It is 3 months now down the line. He is not saying anything about it anymore, and nothing either is being done. The 310 million franc CFA now doing that no road rehabilitation work has been done by the Bamenda city mayor.
All right, and moving ahead, Ngoma flees homeland for 5 years and counted for safety. All right, as the armed conflict in southern Cameroon rages on, several innocent civilians caught in the conflict have been paying a heavy price. Now, as solutions to the crisis are yet to be preferred, the human rights situation in Amba remains worrying. Most civilians have become targets of the colonial Republic, the Cameroon terrorist defense and security forces.
Several civilians accused of having links with armed Ambazonian separatist groups are indiscriminately being arrested, tortured, and detained under precarious conditions. Some have disappeared following their arrest. A certain Romanus Meboka Ngome, a well-known businessman in the town of Ekona local government area near Boya, the capital of Ambazonia, is one of the victims of such brutality. Ngome was forced by La Republique du Cameroon terrorist forces who, after raping his wife and mother in front of him. Where can he be now after 5 years of running?
Well, here is one of the atrocities of the colonial La Republique du Cameroon terrorist military on the people of southern Cameroon's Amazonia. Romanus Meboka Ngame is just one case of too much of the inhumane treatment that Amazonians are suffering at the hands of La Republique du Cameroon. Well, trouble began for Romanus Ngame in 2018. While running a drinking spot, Ngame's business joint was the center of attraction to many youths in Ekone who frequently tugged his bar to relax. As his drinking spot grew to become one of the most popular in the area, Ngame became the target of soldiers.
Well, in 2018, soldiers stormed his home at night in the Ekome local government area. The terrorist soldiers stormed his house and they began questioning him on his relationship with some of his customers suspected to be Amba fighters, separatist fighters. Ngome was accused of collaborating with Ambazonian liberation fighters who were said to be regular customers at his business joint.
Well, Undaunted learned that La Republique du Cameroon soldiers had told Ngome to his face that separatist fighters have been meeting in his bar to strategize on how to carry offensive attacks on the military. After long exchanges with the soldier, he's said to have stood his ground on the face that he doesn't collaborate with the Ambazonian frontline fighters. He had argued that he receives numerous customers in his bar and can't be responsible for the actions of those who patronize his business joint. But the terrorist La Republique du Cameroon soldiers, not being convinced by the narrative of Ngome, began molesting him. He was tortured mercilessly, leaving with severe injuries.
Well, his wife, who watched helplessly as the thugs molested her husband, was reportedly raped by the beast in uniforms. Ngome's mother, who was present during the raid, in front of him and the children. Ngome was repeatedly beaten after several running battles with the La Republique du Cameroon terrorist military. In June 2019, Ngome fled the country for an unknown destination. This was after he had received several threats to his life. While Undaunted gathered that soldiers have since launched a manhunt of Ngome, whose exact whereabouts remain unknown.
The terrorists have been making several rounds in Ngome's neighborhood in search of him. In one of the raids in search of him, La Republique du Cameroon terrorist soldiers are reported to have burnt down his house and business joint in Ekona local government area. His family members long fled the area. Now, it is unclear what might happen to Ngome if he is caught by the colonial La Republique du Cameroon terrorists. However, it is clear he will be charged with terrorism and handed a heavy jail term, as has been the case with other civilians accused of links with Ambazonian restoration fighters.
All right, on to the news stories. Let's take a look at Justice Aya Paul Abene. Well, Undaunted has learned that he has been summoned by the La Republique du Cameroon colonial authorities in Boya once more, and his summoning is signed on January 11th, 2023 this year by the La Republique du Cameroon Colonial Legion Commander Nguele Joseph. And the Justice Aya Paul Abene is expected at the Colonial Gendarmerie office on Friday, January 13th, 2023. That is yesterday, and no reasons have been advanced for the summons yet.
Well, in a Facebook post, the spokesman of the Aya family and son of Aya, Paul Abene, said, and I quote, "My dad, Chief Lord Justice Barrister Aya Paul Abene, has once again been summoned moments ago to appear at the Gendarmerie headquarters of the Southwest Region, Boya, tomorrow, Friday, January 13, 2023. The summons carries no motive, nor does it bear the names of the complainants."
Aya Abene, that is the son of the Justice Paul Abene, added that his daddy received the convocation on his Sikh seat moments ago. The Aya family will communicate on what unfolds tomorrow if necessary. And it should, however, be noted that the retired judge has not been in the good books of the colonial La République du Cameroon's government since the start of the armed conflict rocking the Amba land.
Well, in 2017, Aya Paul Abene was arrested and held in the underground cell of the Colonial La République du Cameroon National Gendarmerie Headquarters SED in Yaoundé. At the time of arrest, he was serving as Deputy Attorney General at the Supreme Court of Colonial La République du Cameroon.
Now, following a presidential decree, he was released after spending about 8 months in detention without trial. Sent on forceful retirement upon regaining freedom, the one-time presidential candidate engaged in humanitarian activities. Though a one-time member of parliament under the ruling junta CPDM party, he is a staunch critic of the colonial La République du Cameroon regime and an advocate of the peaceful resolution of the armed conflict on Ambazonia.
Former Advocate General of the Supreme Court, Justice Aya Paul Abene, was a former member of parliament for Akwaya local government area in Manu County, elected under the banner of the ruling junta, Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, and had declared his resignation from the party. He continued serving the country as a parliamentarian until the end of the parliamentary term of office in 2012. After that, he became the Advocate General at the Supreme Court in La République du Cameroon. Is now a retired magistrate.
The magistrate was arrested at the beginning of the Anglophone crisis and later morphed into a full-fledged war. Aya Paul Abene indicates that he spent his first night in a small cell of La République du Cameroon without a window or mattress, a situation that aggravates his health condition. For Aya Paul Abene, the arrest of the leaders of the Anglophone crisis was a political affair. The magistrate indicates that he was not a member of the Anglophone, but he was arrested because he asked that the law should have been applied in the case. He calls for the creation of the National Truth and Reconciliation Committee. The former Advocate General proposes that arrogance be put aside for discussion with Amazonian leaders.
All right, moving on. Let's look at the La République du Cameroon Colonial Fishery Authorities as they plead guilty to European Commission's ban. Now, fraud, corruption, and irregularities are the guiding principles on which the BA-led colonial government operates. Now, these vices have eaten deep into the fabric of La République du Cameroon and systematically transferred from one generation to another. The European Commission has banned the importation of seafood from La République du Cameroon, accusing her of illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Now, the European Commission on Thursday banned imports of seafood caught in Cameroon's water or caught by ships, flagged there, and it labeled the West African countries as non-cooperating in the fight against illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. 1 week now since the ban, the fishing colonial authorities in charge of fishing in La République du Cameroon haven't altered a word. The question is their silence a piece of evidence that they are guilty? Silence means consent.
Well, the Commission gave La République du Cameroon a so-called red card and said the EU member states will turn away seafood shipments from La République du Cameroon even when it has catch certificates validated by the national authorities. La République du Cameroon is one of 4 EU countries that are currently on the Commission's red card list alongside St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Comoros, and Cambodia, the country has in recent years emerged as one of several countries that offer flags of convenience where companies can, for a fee, register their ships in a nation that has no links to the vessel. Last year, the Associated Press investigated 14 vessels registered in La Republic du Cameroon that had been accused of illegal and unregulated fishing and found that they were owned or managed by companies based in EU member states. The European Commission said illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing is one of the most serious threats to the sustainable exploitation of living aquatic resources. We have zero tolerance for IUU fishing, and therefore the Commission has acted strongly today by giving Cameroon a red card, said the European Commissioner for Environment, Oceans, and Fisheries, Virginie Juice, as a spokesperson for La Republique du Cameroon's illegal Ministry of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Industries, could not be reached for comments.
Well, the ban by the Commission comes nearly 2 years after it urged La Republique du Cameroon's authorities to step up its action against illegal fishing. The Commission estimates as much as 26 tons of fish are caught illegally each year, comprising about 15% of the world's total catch. Illegal, unreported, or unregulated fishing is worth between 10 billion and 20 billion euros each year.
All right, now moving on to a very critical story for tonight, the persistent fuel crisis in Yaoundé. 2023 may not be a favorable one for the colonial La Republique du Cameroon as a failed and bankrupt state, because the Yaoundé junta can no longer subsidize fuel prices, and in every economy when fuel goes up, every other commodity goes up as well, bringing what is called here in the enemy language, what they call la vie chère, as denizens cannot make ends meet. Taxi drivers, bike riders, and other motorists have already increased fares, and traffic jam has reduced as many who cannot afford fuel have parked their vehicles in the garage.
The fuel in major filling stations across the colonial nations, political capital Yaoundé since January 9th has resulted in some inhabitants being stranded on major roads, unable to get taxis to their destinations. Other complaints, some taxi drivers and motorists have used the opportunity to increase the price per drop in some areas around town. In major road junction and streets, there are endless queues of persons waiting to get into taxis and mini buses that connects the center of the city to the suburbs, but they are rare to come by as many have packed down.
Well, some others say motorists and taxi drivers use the opportunity to increase prices. When you don't propose a good price higher than the normal price, you get to stand on the road for a very long time. In an effort to purchase fuel, long queues of vehicles, crowds of motorbike taxis, and other individuals holding cans in their hand can be seen lining up at gas stations, and many need super, but it is reported that most filling stations do not have it as it is low in supply. Faced with a new fuel shortage affecting the city of Yaoundé, the colonial La Republique du Cameroon's Ministry of Trade has provided a provisional measure to ration the sale at 5,000 francs CFA per person. Undaunted gathered that no one served fuel over 5,000 francs CFA in this rationing scheme.
On the other hand, Undaunted learned that the colonial La Republique du Cameroon Minister of Water and Energy, Eston Elondo Zombe, has blamed the shortage on the end-of-year holidays that have impacted operations at the international level. Now, he says the ships have not yet been authorized to unload on the due date because of these holidays. He also noted that the colonial capital Yaoundé was supplied with over 1,700 tons of gas oil on January 10th, and hopes the situation regularizes in the days ahead.
Well, this current shortage occurs barely 6 months after the country experienced severe shortage. Back then, colonial La Republique du Cameroon, the Minister of Water and Energy, Gaston Elundo Esomba, explained that the disruption recorded in the fuel supply were mainly due to the large envelope of the pump price subsidy that must be mobilized in real time to ensure imports of petroleum products. It is the third time in less than 6 months that the failed La Republique du Cameroon has experienced a fuel shortage, In October, authorities took measures to supply the local market, and over 4,000 metric tons of gas arrived by a 118-meter-long tanker port of Douala, Bonaberi on October 19th, 2022 last year. According to reports in 2020, nearly 700 billion francs CFA was spent by the Treasury as fuel subsidies to ensure the regular supply of domestic market petroleum products.
Undaunted has learned from very reliable sources at the Colonial La Republic, the Cameroon Ministry of Finance, and that due to the economic crunch, the colonial government may not be able to subsidize fuel again, which means that the fuel prices are going to experience a jump in the days ahead. Now, that will be up to 950 francs CFA per liter. Now, we shall not be within reach for many who just live from hand to mouth in La Republic de Cameroon.
All right, on with our next story, La Republic's dipsomania. Let's take a look at La Republic's statistics on beer consumption.
Well, on beer consumption, a total of 1.4 billion francs CFA consumed beer alone in 3 days from December 31st, 2022 to January 2nd, 2023 in a country on its knees financially and economically. Now, below are statistics on how alcohol has been consumed in La Republic de Cameroon from the night of 31st December 2022 to January 2nd. Now, classifications are done according to towns that were reachable. Now, for Douala, they drank or they consumed up to 56,200 crates of beer. Now, for Yaoundé, 51,200 crates of beer. For Ngol's Samba, 382,000 crates of beer. For Bafoussam, 49,200 crates of beer. For Dischange, 40,200 crates of beer. For Maro, 4,200 crates of beer. For Garwa, 720 crates of beer. Ebolowa, 3,022 crates of beer. For Betoile, 250 crates of beer. For Kribi, 1,800 crates of beer. For Victoria, 62,000 crates of beer. For Boya, 258,000 crates of beer. Adia, 160,000 crates of beer.
Well, this is giving us a total of 202,739,640 crates of beer drank and a total of 2,432,875,680 bottles of beer, giving a total of 1,581,369,192 liters of beer, or 158,137 tanks of 10,000 liters of beer, each only comparable to the flow of River Mfundi in colonial Yaoundé for a period of just 3 days. Total expenditure on beer is 1,459,725,408,000 francs CFA in a crippling La Republic de Cameroon. Well, this type of unfruitful competition, when denizens cannot make ends meet, afford for basic necessity, or even earn a decent salary, are characteristics of a failed state and more reasons why Ambazonia must detach themselves.
All right, this is a breaking report. It says today, Saturday 14th, January 2023, at exactly 9 a.m. Amber time, the Almighty Buyo Warriors, under the commander of Major General Chokanju, welcomed La Republic de Cameroon terrorists into the land of no return, sending at least 6 of them with a message to deliver to Mr. Ekema using the Akono Lingua Express.
Well, the Boyi warriors, after learning of a new colonial deployment in Tombin, Kumbo local government area, did not allow them to settle in. Tobin roundabout became the new Waterloo as a large explosive device detonated, killing at least 6 La Republic de Cameroon terrorists that were patrolling the area and sending huge smoke billowing into the air.
Well, immediately after the loud explosion came thunderous gunshots fired from multiple directions as the town went silent. The terrorists on patrols were caught off guard, and a total of 6 were deleted on the spot. Many other terrorists with life-threatening gunshot wounds were left to fend for themselves and tell the story to others. The Bui warriors are once again calling on La Republic to Cameroon terrorist elements in Bui and Amazonia as a whole to hand over their weapons to the nearest Amazonian Restoration Forces base and be given a safe passage to a safe neighboring country.
Well, the Bui warriors are also calling on all Ambazonia people, friends, and well-wishers, lovers of the sublime ideals of justice, freedom, peace, liberty, and independence, to continue to support them so that they can continue to fight these terrorists until they capitulate and leave the territory of Amazonia. This information is courtesy of the Bui security team. And with this report, we've come to the end of the new reports for today and the end of Undaunted Weekly Recap.
Yeah, but before we go, we have this report we just have to take this report from the Nigerian Cameroon story as it regards to the Bakassi Peninsula, the back to court story. We'll just take it before we go. Now, based on the conspiracy theories, the most probably misrepresentation and misinformation coming from different news outlets, the purpose of going back to court is not what the people are insinuating, but for interpretation on what was agreed about. Now, according to this day, Life, it said Nigeria and Cameroon have agreed to return to the International Court of Justice (ICJ) for clarification of some grey areas in its judgment on the disputes between both countries over the ownership of the peninsula. Now, the ICJ in the judgment on October 2022 upheld Cameroon's claim to the air. The 24th session of the Cameroon-Nigeria Mixed Commission (CNMC) held between August 25th and 26th, 2022 in Abuja, both countries seem not to have an equal understanding of the ICJ's judgment on the course of the boundary on localities of Rumski, Pillar 8 and Goja. The two parties then agreed to a table discussion on the matter to the ICJ for clarification of its decision.
Now, this formed part of the resolutions at the session as captured in a communique issued by the Nigerian government. According to the communique, Cameroon expressed commitment to work, identify, and encourage the implementation of trans-border infrastructural projects to enhance the economic cooperation and integration of both countries and the West African sub-region. The communique also stated that the Mixed Commission recommended that the two parties finalize the agreement of the joint exploitation of the hydrocarbon along the maritime border.
Now, both countries commended the subcommission on demarcation and the joint for reaching an agreement on the course of the boundary in Amba as the project steering committee, the technical monitoring team for the successful construction of additional 327 pillars in Atlantica Mountains had been endorsed by the Mixed Commission. The Nigerian team to the session was led by the Attorney General of the Federation, AJF, and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami. His spokesman, Dr. Umar Jibrilu Gwandu, said in a statement issued yesterday, Gwandu quoted Malami as expressing Nigeria's determination to ensure that the limited areas of border disagreement between both countries are resolved amicably.
Well, quote, Nigeria is committed to the quick and successful execution of the mandate of the Mixed Commission. This is what Malami said, noting that the areas of disagreement had been reduced to just 3. Malami urged experts working on the issue to embrace pragmatism in order to reach consensus in all the 3 areas of disagreement, hoping that amicable solutions would be found as soon as possible to enable the work to be completed. And with this final report, we've indeed come to the end of our weekly recap, Undaunted Weekly Recap.
All right, coming up next is the fans briefing. And right after the fans briefing, exclusive discussion with Mr. Tapa the King comes up. And this issue on Bakassi Peninsula will be extensively dealt with. Until we come your way on Monday for new reports from Undaunted, I am Onyi Opala.
And I am Star Smart. We'll leave you with ABC Amba TV images. Good night and God bless you.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.